Hello everyone, I hope you are doing well and have had a great weekend so far. In tonight's forecast update, we're going to be talking about the major system once again that will start to move in by the middle of this upcoming week and will really start to impact the United States towards the end of the week with the severe weather risk already being issued for Friday and Saturday by the Storm Prediction Center. But that'll be the main topic for tonight's video, and there'll be also a severe weather threat towards the middle of this week prior to our major system, really the main system I should say, moves in, and we'll also briefly talk about that as well, but that'll be the main topics for tonight's video. And before we really get into the discussion of our storm system towards the middle of this week, we're going to be looking at the Climate Prediction Center and we'll be looking at the temperature and precipitation outlooks for the next 6 to 10 days. So first, you're looking at the temperature outlook for the next 6 to 10 days. Above average temperatures are expected into much of the eastern U.S. and even central U.S., with the confidence being highest into the northeastern U.S. And then on the flip side of that, towards the western U.S., into the southwestern U.S. as well, confidence is the highest that those areas will see below average temperatures for the next 6 to 10 days. And then looking at our precipitation outlook for the same time frame, above average precipitation is expected into quite a bit of the western U.S. as well as the eastern U.S., even into the southern Appalachians and up into New York State, Pennsylvania, extreme northeastern Ohio. And then looking towards the south central U.S., confidence is somewhat certain that these areas in the south central U.S. will see below average precipitation for the next 6 to 10 days. And then switching back to the temperature outlook for the 8 to 14 day range. And so above average temperatures are expected into the eastern U.S., especially into kind of portions of southern New England, into the mid-Atlantic, and then also into the south central U.S. And then looking towards the west, temperatures will probably be below average for the 8 to 14 day range in the western U.S. and near normal for the north central U.S. and portions of the Midwest U.S. And then finally looking at the 8 to 14 day precipitation outlook. And so above average precipitation is expected again into kind of areas into the upper south and into the Appalachians, up into the Great Lakes region as well, and the Northeast as a whole. Then looking out to the west into the northwestern U.S. and kind of southwest U.S. as well. These areas could see above average precipitation for the next 8 to 14 days, with below average precipitation expected into the south central U.S. and a small area into the Florida peninsula for the 8 to 14 day range. Now looking at the Storm Prediction Center, and the Storm Prediction Center has actually issued a slight risk for portions of the Midwest, kind of the Ohio Valley into the Midwest, and then into the upper and deep South for Friday, March 14th. And then if we look for the day after that, for day 7, they have issued again a 15% risk for portions of the kind of upper South and deep South for Saturday, March 15th. And so once again, this yellow area is an automatic level 2 out of 5 slight risk for that range, or for this range, excuse me. So this would again automatically equal a slight risk of level 2 out of 5 at this time. And so I do think that we could see an upgrade, maybe an introduction of an enhanced risk in the coming days into some of these areas here within this slight risk, just because this severe weather risk will probably be a little bit more robust than the risk for the next day. But again, there's still a lot to figure out with these two risks, but this is again the latest two risks that have been issued for again Friday, March the 14th, and Saturday, March the 15th. Now switching to the GFS weather model here, and we'll be looking again at our upcoming system. So if we start out for Monday morning, we have our system across the southeast, finally moving out into the Atlantic right there. And if we continue that on, that finally moves out and is pretty much off the coast by Tuesday morning. And then if we look to the west here, we have our other little system right around here moving in. And so that starts to move in there. And we also have our major system kind of way up here off the coast of the northwestern United States. And so if we continue this on here, you have your system midweek, and you can start to see it right here. And this is where we could see another potential smaller severe weather threat. And we'll look at dew points here just real quick. And as you can see, you do have some moisture moving up into these areas, and that again could be a severe weather risk for Wednesday. And if we switch that back to precipitation real quick here, let me clear that out so y'all can see. And we'll look at our upper level winds, or actually lower level winds, excuse me. And so you do have a little bit of low level jet with this, so that would help with those storms, allow them to get going, and would allow for some spin in the lower levels of the atmosphere. And we'll clear that right there, and then we'll continue on with the precipitation. So that finally continues on, and that could last all the way out late into Wednesday, even into early Thursday. Most of that should be about gone, and you'll just have some leftover moisture. But then if we look to towards Thursday night into Friday on the 14th, here's our low pressure situated into southwestern Nebraska, and the GFS has this as a 973 millibar low pressure by midday Friday, and then by Friday evening it has it all the way down to a 971 millibar low pressure. That is quite strong for sure. And so this is where we could see our severe weather threats up into these areas here, and that's why the Storm Prediction Center has issued such a large slight risk into some of these areas right here. And so moving that forward as well, let me go back to the draw tool. And so that low pressure will continue on up to the north, and you will have a winter weather side of this low pressure. We'll have to watch that as well for late Friday into Saturday, mostly into the weekend. And we'll continue on there, and then we'll have our severe weather threat on Saturday begin with this other system moving out from the south into from the Gulf pretty much, and that moisture is going to be brought up here, and it's just going to be pretty much a separate piece of energy, and that will be responsible once again for that Saturday severe weather threat across portions of the south. And continuing that on, that other system kind of is in tandem basically with this one right here. So you kind of have these two separate pieces of energy, and this will be a pretty complex setup here. And we continue that on, and that would again deliver that severe weather threat, and we'll have some pretty heavy rain with this, especially into the eastern US, and that is highlighted with the Climate Prediction Center with our 6 to 10 day precipitation outlook. You can definitely see how that would overlap, especially with the GFS here, with the above average precipitation expected. But that would finally move out maybe by, I would say, late this upcoming weekend or early on the 17th on that Monday. But that would finally move out, and past that, really don't know a whole lot of what could happen, because we're just going to have to get through this system first before we really start paying attention to that other stuff after that. But that is just what the latest 18Z GFS shows, and then we'll look at dew points here real quick for our severe weather threat on Sunday. And as you can see, there isn't extremely rich moisture up into these areas, but moisture is definitely there, and that'll support the severe weather threat for Friday, and then that moisture is already readily available for Saturday. So if we go back here, let me clear that and continue that on into Saturday, you see you have very moist air into these areas, and that'll just help those severe storms, help those storms maybe become at least strong to severe for Saturday. And so if we continue that on, again, the moisture is shunted off as the systems move out. But again, lastly, we'll just look at our low-level jet with this system, and this is something really we'll have to watch as well, because this will be just another ingredient that'll help to promote severe weather. And if we clear that as well, you have a pretty strong 60, even 70 knot low level jet out here across portions of the Midwest for Friday, this upcoming Friday. So a tornado threat is probable with this. How strong of or how high of a tornado threat we could potentially see, we really don't know yet, because we're not at that range. But we'll just have to continue to monitor this as we get closer. And if we look again for Saturday, that low level jet increases even more with that secondary system right here. Let me make that a little bit bigger, right here. And so you'll have, once again, another strong low level jet helping to promote the severe weather for Saturday. And then that would finally move out once again by this upcoming weekend and into early the week after next, the 16th and 17th of March. Now lastly, looking at the 12Z European weather model from today. And so we'll just be comparing this just a little bit, but we won't be going in as much detail as we did the GFS. But same idea with this system moving out from the southeastern US by Tuesday morning. That will continue off and again move out by then. Then we look to the western US, and we can see our other little system down here finally moving towards this way, and that will give these areas a severe weather threat probably into Wednesday. And you continue that on, and then you can see our severe weather threats start to not severe weather threat, moisture and storms start to build potentially with a severe weather threat on Wednesday into early on Thursday. And moving that on here, you can see our system moving in into the western US out here again. Heavy snow is going to be associated with this, especially into the higher elevations, into the Cascades and Rockies. Moving that on forward, clearing that out, we have our low pressure moving in, and this system really starts to get going by about midday Friday, this upcoming Friday. And this has this all the way down to a, I know it's kind of hard to see, but a 974 millibar low pressure, again strong just like the GFS. And that continues on, and you have all your storms right here for Friday into Saturday. And then that's into even early Saturday. You could still have some ongoing storms, not even from our other system down here yet, but still ongoing storms probably for the overnight hours as well. Then we finally get our other system down here getting going into the southern US, and so that would shoot up by midday Saturday, and then by Saturday evening you have this large area of heavy precipitation across the Appalachians and deep south, and that would move that on out again, continuing that on even into Sunday, even across the mid-Atlantic and northeast. This could also be a heavy band of precipitation into Sunday across these areas as well, as that moves on out to the east. And you will also probably see some high winds, especially up into the northeast and possibly mid-Atlantic for Sunday, as that powerful system moves on out to the east. But it finally again pretty much moves out by the 17th on that Monday, and pretty much is out by then and is no longer affecting the US. So that'll be it for tonight's update. I appreciate all of y'all watching, and I'm going to try to have another video out in the next couple of days. But if I don't get one out within the next couple of days, I'll try to have one out by at least midweek or towards the latter half of this week. But once again, I appreciate all of y'all tuning in and continuing to watch my forecast. And I hope y'all have a great rest of y'all's Sunday night and a great start to y'all's week.